Get your fucking ass up and work. It seems like nobody wants to work these days.
Another club, plane, next place.
Wouldn't you like to know, weather boy?
I actually did it myself. Yeah. Nice.
I mean, let me ask the audience.
Welcome back to the Yapyardigans. I'm your host. What's my name?
Capriel.
Exactly.
And I'm your host.
Bree. It's good to be back. I feel like now with us putting out our episodes every other week, we don't really get a chance to no, we really don't get a chance to connect as much as we did, but I think that's a good thing. We need boundaries. We're human beings too.
Topics that we're going to get into today
Right.
are Disney remakes,
Period.
experiencing the season of summer as an adult.
Which is so funny you said. I was just having that thought as I was driving past the high school. Not like our high school, but the high school
Yeah.
here in town. I was just like, summer as an adult, man. Like
It's
those
not
like
the same.
those thoughts were literally like
It's not
passing
the
through my
same.
brain. So like that's so weird that we're on that same page, because I do want to talk about that. It's like, yeah, it is an interesting experience as an adult.
Absolutely. So those are the topics for today. Getting
Yeah.
into our intro of the weekly debrief.
Mhm.
How was your last 2 weeks?
They were bad. Not bad, but they weren't good.
It's been a rough 2 weeks for us.
It's just been interesting, man. Common denominator for everything terrible and frustrating and slow in my life is school. So that has just always put a damper on things. I've been doing some cool work in my classes, but it's just so mentally draining that it really gets to me sometimes. For one of my classes, I have to write this research paper about we basically have to pick a topic. This is for my anthropology class. We have to pick a topic for basically looking at like the evolutionary purpose of an adaptive behavior.
Oh, interesting.
It is really interesting.
That is very interesting.
And I chose I guess it doesn't have to be an adaptive behavior. It just has to be like an evolutionary perspective on some kind of behavior that we exhibit. And
That
I
is
chose
so fascinating.
depression
Oh.
and mental health problems. And because I was like, girl, I need to get to the bottom of this, because we both
Mama, let's
know-
research.
No, mama, let's research what's going on in my fucking neural pathways, because it gets dark and twisted in there sometimes, and I want to know where it comes from. All of that is to say, that's kind of what's been occupying my mind, because it honestly can be just like that in and of itself. School's draining, but then like on top of that being like, okay, well, I'm already mentally ill, and then having to dive into like, okay, well, why am I mentally ill? And then applying that into a class has been just like, fuck, okay. And then I've been sick, and I've just been getting over it.
Womp.
And that's been just like zapping the energy out of my body and my life force. So I've been trying to just stay above water, and it hasn't been super. I mean, I'm like, again, I just said I'm getting out of it. So like, this is like the last couple of days I finally felt like normal. I finally felt like I'm not sick. Like my immune system is like good and boosted, and it feels good and normal. That's where I've been, and now I'm here, and now I'm present, and now I'm living, and
We're happy to have you.
thank you.
Yeah, mine has also been a little down. My wisdom teeth have been coming in, and this isn't like the first time they've come in, but this is like, yeah, it's been a minute, and they're coming in again, I guess. And it's just not felt good.
No.
And so then on top of that, I've learned I don't have health insurance, and I thought I did. So it's been that rigmarole on top of just like being in pain and the anxiety and panic of like, okay, am I going to have to go spend thousands of dollars out of pocket just to get this done?
On dental care.
Or like not even get it done, but like go in, like not necessarily thousands. Am I going to have to go spend hundreds of dollars just to get an appointment to them for them to tell me if something's wrong and I do need them out? And then am I going to have to go pay thousands of dollars to get them out? But luckily, I do have dental insurance now. I do have vision insurance now. I don't have health insurance because health insurance only lets you enroll in health insurance, the one I'm trying to get for like November through January. So I guess I'm just going to have to friggin' wait. But
American health insurance
yeah,
and healthcare, yeah, it's just
yeah.
it's so
if you're
good.
listening to this and you're not an American, like, just keep it to yourself, please.
Yeah, we
'cause
get it.
I don't want to hear about it.
We get it. Trust.
So yeah, it's been a roller coaster. If that roller coaster was 90 degrees pointed straight down into hell. So that's how my week has been. The one gleaming little slice of light is literally, this happened last night, and I don't know if he knows this, but it's going to continue to happen. I started showing Taylor the One Direction video diaries.
Oh my gosh, how's that been going?
How's
he been reacting to it?
Well, he's not as into it as I would appreciate him to be.
Okay.
But it's so wild because like I have not watched these in like over a decade, and like watching them and realizing I like still know like the words, as in like I can like say these things like not word for word, like I could read them like a script, and I'm like, oh, I know what he's gonna say next. Like, oh, I know what he's gonna say.
Like it's almost Pavlovian.
Exactly.
That's kind of scary, but like kind of
so
cool.
Yeah, it has stirred something inside me that has been laying dormant for a good handful of years now. That there was some stirrings after the event in October that I am now starting to kind of conceptualize, and I'm not going to say move on from, because I'm never going to move on. I'm going to be at the train station forever.
You just can't move on from
but I think there is some beginnings of healings for that corner of my heart to be able to still go back and reminisce. And so I think this goes into, I've maybe said this, or I don't know if I've said this, but I think I've talked to you about the fact that like I don't do very well with nostalgia. Like,
really,
in the sense of like I don't know like how else to say it, of just like I don't really like to go back and like visit little pockets of time when I was like a different person, or like things that bring me back to different times, because I am just so like it comes with such a sense of like melancholy to like think about the fact that you're never gonna be there again. But like, and I've like always been like this, like even when I was like 17. So like even in the perspective of, say, when I was in when I was in One Direction.
Yeah, when you were a member.
When I was in my One Direction phase, that they were only together for 5 years. That's
a Mandela effect if I've ever heard one, because you can't tell me that they weren't a group for like 2 decades.
Exactly. No, exactly. But like it comes down to like I vividly remember, especially like when I say we watched the video diaries, we started with the X Factor video diaries, which is like literally the day one, my first tiny little taste of these boys.
Right.
That like.
Oh, I'm gonna ask you to rephrase.
You're correct, because they're literally 16 and 17 years old in those.
I'm gonna ask you to. A child. That's a child.
Yes, they are children. They are. Yes. But going back to that was like the realization of like it's been over a decade that like I've watched these, because even in the fandom, and especially when they like announced that they were going on a break, I was like, I did not want to touch the stuff that was old and like the times before. Like I just don't like going back to and like being faced with the idea that it's like never gonna be the same. So like that just like kind of wrapped up in nostalgia. But that to say, I feel like getting better at it, just like the older I get, in the sense of like it's important to like maintain that relationship with yourself of like, oh, these things that like brought me joy, let alone something like One Direction is just like a very, very prominent example for me of like, not just like brought me joy, was like literally my entire life.
That was your
like,
foundational experience as a teenager.
I would literally go to school for 8 hours, come home, get on the computer and be on my One Direction blog until like midnight, 2 a.m.,
Yeah.
sleep for a few hours, wake up, go to school, and like do it over again.
Like after Zayn left, you cannot tell me that he didn't die. Like I had to console you for the day. Like we went out to fucking yogurt and like,
and I will never forget that.
and that was a core memory.
It was a, hey, are you okay? Like,
and I'm glad I could be there for you.
yes, and it was a pivotal moment in my life. But anyway, yeah, that to say, that was just like, I'm kind of like getting into that and like watching old music videos. Like we watched the Best Song Ever music video, which was like, but also just like so fun to like watch them with Taylor, of like not having seen them or like not like not getting it. I'm just like
he's fully going into it blind and he has like no emotional attachment to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what's not resonating?
Exactly.
What's not clicking?
Like, I'm not shitting you, just like an example of like batshit that like there's a quote. And so those early video diaries were like a kind of gold mine for like the jokes and memes that got run into the dirt by like in One Direction's lifetime.
Yeah.
But like there's a part where Louis just being stupid, and a thing that did numbers in the fandom that like went on and persisted for a while, of just Louis being like, no, Jimmy protested, and I'm just busting up, I'm just laughing, and Taylor's like, did I miss the punchline? Like, why did he say that?
Tears are streaming from your eyes and he's like,
yeah. Or we watched their Viva La Vida, which is their like first performance on X Factor.
mm-hmm.
And watching it through like the new eyes of like a tired meme in the fandom, being the fact that like Harry was taking it way too seriously, like gifs and just like pictures of like him on stage singing his part, and he's just like, you know the gif that like, I'm just like, oh, imagine seeing that for the first time. Like, imagine just like, so it's a great time. That was a little sliver of light in my hell week that I've been through, but
yeah,
it's fun. I'll report back more of how he's feeling once we've dove in a little bit more.
That's such an interesting, like, when you're so into something that like, and when you've been into something for like years and years and years, where it's like borderline, like, what's not even borderline, like hyperfixation level of like,
oh yeah,
like, and then you try to show someone that you're like super close to and they're like, this is cool, I guess, and then you're like, ugh, like, of course, like, your brain chemistry is not going to react in the same way because you just don't have the same connection. But it's just like, if I could be a fly on the wall during those like interactions, because like, that's just so funny of a premise, because it's like, yeah, you are so connected, but Taylor's like,
okay,
all right, like, what's the deal? Yeah.
So, but that actually segues pretty well into my media spotlight, because completely unrelated, I've just been taking more walks and like doing more stuff like that. We're just like, yeah, putting on my headphones, going for a little hour to just like jaunt around, because like the town that I live in is very walkable, just like nice to get around. And I have like rediscovered Little Mix.
Oh my God.
I
was never like a huge listener, but like I know they're iconic.
So good. Specifically the Salute album, their second album. Like, if you want to know why I am the way that I am, is like, it was this album. Don't get me wrong, there's like 2 or 3 ballads and like 2 or 3 like love songs, but the thesis of the album is like, fuck these dudes. Like, what? Like, we are women and women can do anything. Like, and I'm like, oh, I was internalizing. I didn't even realize, like, I wasn't like, oh yeah, fuck dudes. But then I'm like, oh, this album is kind of like how I feel about men. So yeah, that's my media spotlight. Go listen to Little Mix, specifically the Salute album, that has their first song called, their titular song on the album is just literally like, yeah, women can do everything. Women can do anything.
Exactly.
And there's a really good, like, again, I this is a sample. I don't know if this is a sample of like from another piece of media, or they just like had this written to go in this song. Either way work, but it's literally just like men fight great wars, but women are great fighters. And it's just so good.
Oh my god.
So
Period.
it's literally like I'm like listening to this, like I just put it in my headphones, taking my little walk. I'm like listening to it for the first time in like a solid few years, and I'm literally just like, oh, Little Mix. Like, how was I not
Wait.
like?
Those are like lyrics.
Yes.
Those are more than lyrics. That's a story.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
So, and then there's another song on that album that's literally just like, leave your man. He treats you like shit. Just like,
Just to the point. You know?
so.
Wow. Well, my media spotlight is, I'm ashamed to admit.
Preach.
Well, I guess I have, it's a teeter-totter. The music
on it.
I've been listening to has been E = MC squared by Mariah Carey, which you want to talk about classic? You want to talk about instant classic? Like, will forever go down in history as one of the greatest albums of all time that no one ever talks about? Like, come on, people. Wake up. I'm not playing. Like,
No, speak on it.
Touch My Body. Like, that
Unskippable.
that song,
Like literally the fast forward button erases when you put that song on.
it doesn't exist. Like, there would be no Little Mix if it wasn't for that song. There would be no Ariana Grande. There would be no insert female pop star here without Touch My Body by Mariah Carey, circa 2008.
No, I believe it.
You understand?
Oh my gosh, 2008.
I know. And everyone wants to talk about The Emancipation of Mimi. Amazing album. Duh.
Also with a name like that, with a title like that, that's just
Like-
such a good title for an album.
Hang it up, everybody else. Go home. You don't even deserve to be here. I'm going to take it back. I'm sorry. But I've been listening to that album again. Like, I go through phases with pretty much all of my favorite artists. I'll go through phases. I feel like everyone has that kind of moment where you're like, I will always hold this artist near and dear to my heart forever and always to the end of time until past the point of my life ending. Like, you will never be able to take that away from me or my energy or my spirit. But sometimes I just go through moments where I'm like, okay, like I've listened to them enough. Like, let me put something else on. And I've been in a moment where like I need to listen to E = MC squared because it's just like, it's so like it captures the essence of like throwing on the radio in 2007 to 2009,
Yes.
where you're just like
Yes.
driving around with like your parents and you're like, oh my God, like it's, you know,
Exactly.
it's like summer and it's just like, you know, like we're going to the convenience store and getting a Slurpee and it's like, it's just that captured in an album. And so I'll just like throw my windows down, just like blast that song, making sure everyone in town knows that this album exists. And I want to say like top songs off that album for me, Migrate. Like, we need a Migrate renaissance. Like, people need to start playing that at the clubs. Touch My Body, so good. Bye Bye makes me
Cry.
like actually cry. Bye Bye makes me cry because what do you mean this is for my peoples who just lost somebody? Your best friend, your baby, your man, or your lady. So that's the album I've been listening to. The thing I'm ashamed about is the show that I've been watching. Well, I guess it's not really like a show. Well, it is a show. Let me get to it. A couple episodes back, I talked about my weird, like, I'm getting sucked into the realm of like Facebook shorts and stuff. Like, I don't know what they put into that code to where it like is just so addictive that like again, like I will delete it off my phone. I'll go drop my phone somewhere or like put it and then I'll come back and it's on my phone. Like, I literally I black out. Like, I put it back on my phone somehow. And so I'll just be scrolling and I'm like, oh, like I don't know how it happened, but like a clip from Grey's Anatomy or something came on and I was like, oh, let me watch it, because I've seen Grey's Anatomy before. Who hasn't, you know? So I just started watching. I was
Yeah,
like,
whose mom didn't watch that show?
no,
Then we were
literally.
we were shown things that were not for people in our age group.
Who didn't cry when the fucking plane went down? Like, you know what I mean? Like, so I was already like predisposed to the world. So I was like, okay, let me know. Like, I like this show. Like, and I've seen my fair share of medical shows before, whatever. So started watching it. It's like, oh, okay. So then the algorithm picked up on the fact that I started liking Grey's Anatomy and started showing me a lot more clips of not just Grey's Anatomy, but it was like Grey's Anatomy, Chicago Med, Chicago Fire, 911, The Pit. So like me sitting there just scrolling on my phone literally hours at a time. I'm talking like that's why I was like up till 6 a.m. because I was like in my bed at 1 and I was like, I should go to bed. But like there's something in my brain telling me no. The next clip.
No, I can relate to that in the sense that I've been caught up doing that, and I've caught myself doing that of just like with just like random doom scrolling on TikTok, not like one specific like kind of TikTok or like kind of video, but like I'll lay in bed at like a normal time where like I'm crotchety and I have to wake up at 6 a.m. most days. So it's like I'll try to be getting into bed by like latest 10 p.m.
Yeah.
So in the sense of like I've gotten into bed at like 8:30 being like I'm going to get so much sleep tonight. Like I'm going to sleep. And then I just sit on my phone and scroll for like 4 hours. And then it's like, oh, 11:30. Okay, I guess I'll go to sleep now.
It doesn't ever happen like that. It doesn't ever happen like that.
So
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about in the sense of just getting wrapped up in
And it's
random fucking
tragic,
videos.
but I can't help it because it's like some of the clips are just like super benign. And I'm like, okay, like I could have just skipped over that because it's like 30 seconds or a minute of just like exposition, whatever. And I don't know how, but some of them are literally like 20 minutes long, like half a fucking episode of me just like drool like dribbling out of my mouth because I literally can't pull myself away. Like my eyes are bloodshot because I'm just like I'm not blinking for like hours at a time because I'm just like so enthralled at this like Grey's Anatomy. Like, so I've been watching Grey's Anatomy but only on Facebook. But anyway, those are my two spotlights on media, and I just deserved I think I needed a second to talk about that because I feel embarrassed, but I feel empowered at the same time. It's like a weird feeling, you know?
Good. As you should.
Anyway.
We can move on to how stupid Disney remakes are.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And I say that with the meat of what I wanted to say about this is like I feel like the overarching conversation is just that like movies have taken a turn and there are such few I almost said such few good movies, and that's not necessarily true, but the movies that get notoriety, the movies that get somewhere in the media are just often so bland.
Yeah.
And Disney just like regurgitating the same shit over and over when they were like, say what you want about Disney, undoubtedly a pioneer in like children's movies.
Yes.
Movies that are made for children and meant to be enjoyed by children, but not necessarily like that no one else could enjoy them, but movies with heart and with a meaning and with a story behind them.
And a charm and a whimsy.
Exactly. To then them being like, well, we're just going to regurgitate that over and over again because it was good at once, versus like cultivating a culture of this is what we're known for. We're going to continue to do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, specifically the thing that made me think of this is just the Moana situation makes my skin crawl.
Please talk about that because I'm not super familiar.
That like Moana came out in, do you have it up there? What year did Moana come out?
Moana came out in 2016.
2016. Less than 10 years ago, Moana came out. And last year, I believe, was when the announcement was made, was that we were getting a Moana 2 and a live action. That's like,
It's getting weird.
I don't know. Not only was Moana like just a good story that didn't precipitate, that didn't need another one. you're regurgitating literally the same movie that's less than 10 years by the time it's, or no, by the time it, because I think Moana, the live action, is going to be in a minute. Like, I don't think it's coming out next year.
Yeah, well, this says in 2026, so it will be, I guess, 10 years.
So it will only be 10 years from Moana that they're just regurgitating that storyline.
Yeah.
Like, it is so, like, a sign of the times for real. Because,
it
like,
really is.
why? Because, like, I could even take my foot off the gas shitting on Moana 2 if it weren't for the fact that in the same breath they were announcing a live action. Like, that it was like, oh, we're not only going to beat this dead horse that we saw was popular, but not have the same music that made it really popular. We're just going to regurgitate it again.
Yeah.
And you're going to put it real people. Which, my big thing, and so this is kind of a segue into the other thing that I want to talk about regarding remakes, is that I'm not even sitting here saying on principle, or I guess, so I don't think remakes are inherently bad. I think if you can do something that you couldn't at the time do it.
Yes, right.
That, like, so that to say, I think I have medium-sized hopes for the Lilo and Stitch movie.
Bree from the future here. We recorded this before the movie came out, and I'd only seen like a very short trailer for it, and I was wrong. Before you listen to me talk about my hopes for this movie, please just understand I know that I'm wrong, and I didn't want to put this out there without acknowledging that. Thank you.
Because I remember, and I was like trying to talk to Taylor about the idea of, like, it could have been when the announcement was made, but if not, even in this kerfuffle of, like, remakes happening and me complaining about them, is that, like, I have said out loud that, like, Lilo and Stitch is one of those movies that I don't think would be an awful remake. Because it's a movie that's 90% human, where it's like you're just, like, taking an animated form to just, like, oh, here's real people doing it.
Right.
And B, too, whichever one I used, a movie that deserves more time in the sun. Like, it is a movie that is good and wasn't shoved down our throat so much, excluding the fact that Stitch is like a deity to some people. Like, Stitch specifically has been really popular, but, like, the movie and the story of Moana, the movie and the story of Lilo and Stitch, I personally think deserves another chance, like, in the sun, because it just, like, yeah. I would say I would count Lilo and Stitch more of, like, a niche classic of Disney versus just, like, oh, you think of Disney movies and Lilo and Stitch, like, comes right to mind.
Right.
So I think that it has potential, and the few clips that I've seen of it has some, like, okay, this doesn't seem like they were just doing this out of nothing. Like, the animation, like, the CGI does look pretty good and, like, pretty true to, like, what the movie was. They're not like, oh, we're gonna do it in real life, but we're gonna, like, change it up and try and make it more interesting. Like
the remake fulfills a purpose, no matter if that purpose is, like, small-ish.
Exactly.
You know?
So then just, like, another example that I was thinking of that, like, a potential real-life remake would be, like, I think Cusco, like, The Emperor's New Groove, would be, like, a fun, whimsical
that would be really
story
cool
to retell, again, for similar reasons, that it's just like a meaningful storyline for the times that we're in, of just spoiled ass bitches getting whatever they want and being like, oh, there is more to life than getting whatever I want, on top of, like, it's mostly all human with a llama. That's, like, you could do that with real people and, like, a small amount of CGI.
Yeah.
Versus, I'm saying that because, like, I think the stuff like Lion King, deplorable. That's so fucking stupid that you'd make that in real life. You just made it in a new animated style. Like, those...
And it was a weird,
like,
movie. It was, like, so Uncanny Valley.
Exactly.
And, like,
that it's, like, there was no need to make that real life, because you're just, like, you have better technology now. That story didn't need to be told again. Lion King is a very prominent and talked about story in Disney.
It's just like a giant, like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Like, we're just doing it for the money.
Exactly.
Just so evil. Just so evil.
Boo. So,
Boo.
yeah. So I say all this. Like I said, I am interested in watching Lilo and Stitch, because that's one, like I said, I don't think remakes are inherently bad.
Sure.
But I think the principle of them is that, like, you have to do it for the right reasons, and if you can do it correctly, which more often than not Disney's not doing. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
We'll see.
I intend to go see it, but I mean, I
big
don't know if I'll
asterisk.
go see it, but like I intend to watch it whenever it's
Right.
around. But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, that's my little 2 cents.
But yeah.
Moving on.
Moving on.
Moving right along, we'll talk about the summer months when you are an adult and it doesn't mean what it used to. So that's the next topic.
I thought it was an actual song at first. And I was like, what? What song is that?
I think Moving Right Along is some sort of Muppet song. Moving
Muppet
right
song.
along.
Oh.
Doop, 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 doop. I don't know any other words.
Is that your Kermit impression?
No. The summer months when you're an adult and not in school anymore. And by school I mean high school, because like you're still like going to school, but it's still just like a frame of mind of like you get out of school from going from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. to suddenly you're unshackled.
And the reason I thought about this the other day is because I was driving and graduation season is like upon us. And so there are a lot of like high schools that have either graduated their high school seniors or are about to. And so it just got me thinking about like, okay, what was that experience like for you? And I don't know why I thought about that. It's just like sometimes that crosses my mind. And I was like, I wonder what that must feel like for them, because when I was approaching that time of senior year, I was like, this is like I remember feeling junior year, like, okay, summer going into senior year was like, okay, got one more year of high school. That was like the last summer that I felt like a kid. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then graduation rolled around, and then literally like the day after graduation, I was like, what now? Like, what's going on? Like it was such a weird shift that still to this day, like I can't describe it with the right words. And I was like, that it feels a little bit different now that it's been an X amount of years. But it just made me think of like all those seniors that are like going into this new era of their lives, where it's like, yeah, they're going to walk the stage, get their diploma, and then it's going to be like, oh yeah, you're not going back to high school. Like you're going to be into this new era. I mean, yeah, this new era of your life where it's just going to start to feel different. Like that difference of like the feeling of summer will then start to feel very, very different. Yeah. And that's like the only way I can put it. Because there's like, when you're a kid, there's a stark difference between the summer months, just in the way that it affects your emotions, I guess, and the way that you view it from that perspective, and the way that the school months, I guess, feel. Yeah. But when that no longer is your reality, like everything just blends together in this weird kind of like fuzzy gray area.
And I was gonna say, it's so funny because like I had this realization, not like when I was thinking about this, so like not that long ago, of just like, I don't think I was even doing this very consciously, and like there was an element of consciousness to these decisions, but like what you were talking about of like going into my summer of junior year, so like the summer before senior year, I panicked. Like I was like, the reality setting in of like, oh, this is it. Yeah. And so like I had my first boyfriend, was doing a bunch of like, I was just trying to do stuff, just like doing hood rat shit of just like, I need to live this up, like I need to savor this. So it's like, went on a road trip to California my junior year, just like me and Will just like drove down like literally
yes, I remember that.
Literally like the week before school started, we're like, oh, we didn't do enough, got in the car, got in his fucking Jetta, just like drove down to San Francisco. Yeah. And drove back in like 48 hours before senior year started. Like, why not? Got there, did it, school year, finished high school, and I'm like, oh shit, I don't want to live in the real world. Was doing heavier hood rat shit, drove to Georgia to go to a music festival. Just like did that, tried like 4 different kinds of drugs at the same time, and then drove home and was like, oh shit, persisted for another 9 months. Summer rolls around again. I'm going to Italy. Like, let me go and just like not live in this. Right. And then cut to, so then that would have been 2019. I come home and I'm like, oh, like that, like setting in of just like, I don't know what else to do. Yeah. At that point, I'd also lost all of my friends. So I was just kind of like floating, not all my friends, but the people that I was like close with at the time. Yeah. So I really was just like floating. Like I hit 2019, which would have been 2 years after I graduated. And I was just like, oh shit. Like I have no idea what I'm doing, and I have no idea what I want to do with my life. And ever since then, summer has just brought on, which is just such a funny switch to have happen for like my entire life leading up to that, is summer fills me with a sense of dread. Like summer fills me with a sense of like unfulfilledness, where I'm like, I have to fill this time. Yeah. And I never really know what to do. So like, yeah, I just feel that setting in like every year. And now we're like nearing the end of May. We're like at the end of May. And I'm just like, oh, why am I so anxious? Oh, summer's about to happen.
Summer's here. Yeah.
And just like, yeah, that inherent need. So that to say, when I was in school, summer didn't really mean anything other than being able to be nocturnal, being on Tumblr more, being able to Skype my friends whenever I wanted for as long as I wanted. Sure. It wasn't even like, oh, I need to go. It's not like I've always been like, oh, I need to go live it up and do everything and fit everything into my summer. It was just the like freedom summer brought. Yeah. But then now that switch of like, okay, I have freedom to do whatever I want whenever I want. But specifically summer is just ingrained of like, this is the time for freedom. This is the time to do whatever you want. Yeah. Like, so yeah.
And there's like a limit on that time to do whatever you want.
Exactly.
And that limit feels closer in proximity now that we're out of school.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And that became, and I think that's what I was saying earlier, it's like that became so apparent to me the second I graduated. Yeah. Like I was like going into that summer, I was like, all right, well, like this is just, I just know it's going to be different. Yeah. Like the second I walked out of those doors, I was like, first of all, goodbye. Yeah. Like goodbye. I cannot wait.
Goodbye. Like, good riddance.
Yeah. But then I was like, okay, well, it's literally like, this is adulthood. Like you are an adult now.
So anyway, summer. So like that's the thing, just to bring it home, is the fact that like the older that I'm getting, and I feel like I've gotten better at this, so like last summer wasn't as good, that I think I was just super busy like work wise last summer, so then it got to be like mid-June, I was like, oh, I didn't really plan or do anything. But then the summer before that, I just like filled my months. Like I was going to like 2 concerts a month. Like I just went to a bunch of concerts and went to a bunch of stuff. Yeah. And that was like very fulfilling, because then I could look back and be like, okay, I did some stuff this summer, versus last summer I got into fall and I was like, I need to die.
Well, that
was
fast.
I didn't do anything. Yeah. So.
And I think that's the key to combating that feeling, because like that's my feeling every single summer. Because like when I was a kid living out in the middle of goddamn nowhere, we weren't able to like do a lot during summer. So like that's why summer, I have a similar feeling, I feel like, for different reasons, of just like summer does kind of bring this like weird sense of just like.
So I feel, so then that to say, like going further, is that like I've learned the older that I'm getting and the more summers I have as an adult, is that like I can still feel that, like I can still feel joy from summer. It's just like I am not a spontaneous person. Like I do not do well at spontaneity. It's not like I dislike spontaneity. I just am not wired to be like, oh, I'm not doing anything today, I'm gonna go do something. Yeah. I need to plan stuff out. I need to like make a docket for myself of, okay, I'm gonna do this and this month, this and this this month, get some tickets for some stuff, like do that. So I've started that process, because I know I'm going camping the first weekend of June. And then I'm going to a Bee Gees cover band the last, like late August, early September. So it's like,
that's going to be fun.
Stuff that I'm like, okay, I'm planting the seeds of like, I know I have to, like, I want to do stuff. Yeah. But you just got to do it more preemptively than when you were a kid. When I was a kid living in a tiny town that I could just like walk to like most anywhere that I was able to do versus or getting a car and being like, oh, I can just drive to the beach. Like I can just go do stuff on my time.
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, it just like I'm not such a doomer that I'm like, oh, summer just sucks when you're an adult. That sucks. But like, oh, summer's just different and you have to work a little harder to make summer be fulfilling like it was when you were a kid.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think that leads us to our outro.
Yeah.
And we have, as always, a closing question for you to answer in the comments. So you can answer this and tell us as much as you want. This one is a little bit more like winded than our other more succinct ones, but it just is like an interesting conversation of, do you have the same username for all platforms? And if you do, how do you think of it and why?
Yeah.
Or if you don't, then like what's your criteria for making a username?
And that's a really good question. I used to have the same handle for all of my social media platforms.
Yeah, same.
And it was white trash gay without any of the vowels.
Yeah.
It was like which and I changed it because anytime I would like hop in like a TikTok live and comment something, they'd be like, thanks.
Which
Shaggy. And I was like, oh yeah, no one is going to understand this or know how to pronounce this except for me, which is like, it doesn't really matter. But like, I looked at it from I want like consistency across social media platforms. So, I was like, okay, well, I don't want to just like spell out white trash gay because a lot of times they won't let you use gay for some reason. And like, it just seems a little too on the nose. But I really felt like it represented who I was at the time.
Yeah.
So I've since changed it to, it's not the same across all my platforms, but it might as well be. It's either just my first name or just like Cap Wilson. It's just easy to find is what my criteria was.
We have a pretty similar path because my username across everything used to be bad at math 420 because those were the two pillars of my personality, being bad at math and smoking weed. But then when I moved to Blue Sky, specifically, Bree with a 1 instead of an I wasn't taken. So I just snatched that up because that's like whatever. And even before that, like I've kind of transitioned into having it be my name as some variable, in some variant of like my name with a number. So like usually I'll try and go for that, like be like, Bree with a 1. Whereas then you kind of devolve, like my Tumblr URL is 8R13 because it's like Bree, but like there's no number that really looks like an R. Which like I'm kind of into. That's also, I almost said my gamer tag, not my gamer tag, but like either my like EA profile or like something like that, like on my computer that is just like that as like 8R13. Because I kind of like that one and I'm kind of shifting towards that one because it's like both, if you know my name is Bree, you can look at that and be like, okay, I kind of see it, but it's also pretty ambiguous where it's like I'm the kind of person that like doesn't really want my social medias tied to like me as me. I almost said my government name, but like, I mean, my name is Sabrina Parsons. Like that's, I think being online and making a podcast, you would be able to find that if you wanted to. But like, I don't really want all of my social medias across the board to be like tied to that versus like when you first look at it. So especially now that I go by Bree and now that like there's a little bit like, that's not an uncommon name, but it's not like a super duper, like Sabrina's not really a common name either, but like, you know what I mean? Like it's usually not that hard to get Bree with some variation of numbers thrown in there on like anything I've ever tried. So it's like, my Blue Sky is Bree with a 1. My Tumblr is that. My TikTok, which I just like haven't changed because when I signed up for TikTok back in 2020 or whatever, Bad at Math 420 was taken, unfortunately.
Oh my god, that's so weird.
Felt like an imposter out there. Like I like literally searched up, it was just an account that had nothing on it and I was like, fuck you. Like,
oh my god, that's a bot. That has to be a bot.
But my TikTok username is Bree Hates Math because that's again
same sentiment.
The biggest pillar of my personality. So yeah, that to say, maybe one day I'll change my TikTok username to like Brie, but like at the same time, my TikTok it already has Brie in it, so yeah, that to say, I try to go for something that has my name in it with some variable now. Whereas like, yeah, rest in peace, Bad at Math 420. That was my thing for everything for a solid few years.
She was around for a while, and she did a lot of really cool things.
Yeah,
it's okay to let it go though.
Anyway, we're gonna switch orders of what we usually say, because us talking about usernames and social media kind of goes into our shout out.
Yeah.
We got a submission on one of our Google forms from @finalistgirl saying they want to come on the podcast and that they love us. We love you, sister.
Yes.
I cannot find you on any social media @finalistgirl. I looked on YouTube, I looked on Instagram, I looked on Tumblr, I even looked on Twitter, I looked on Blue Sky. I literally just Googled the username. Like, I just Googled @finalistgirl. Baby, I cannot find you anywhere. So please reply, comment, interact with our socials anywhere. TikTok, Instagram, Blue Sky. Just leave a YouTube comment on this video. I don't know. Please, because we will have you on. If you want to be on here, the mic is yours.
Yeah.
So
we would love a guest.
That would be so fun. But yeah, especially like we have a few people in our lives that like in our lives, not like we're going live, but like in our real life that would want to be on. But I think it's such a cool concept of the idea of like just having somebody we've never met before on. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we do know you in real life, but like,
because like my thought was when Bree first told me this, I was like, okay, we only really post. We talk about it in the pod, obviously, but we only really post our links to this forum, at least directly on our Instagram story. So we're like, okay, maybe one of our followers. So like, but like, yeah, sifted through all my followers, like could not find anything that even resembled that
like
handle.
Maybe you've changed your that's the one thing that popped up of that, like, I haven't checked this since we last recorded, which was 2 weeks ago.
Sure.
And so that to say, maybe you've changed your in that time, but that to say, either send us another link or just like, reply somewhere on our socials. Wait, that to say, did you look on your Instagram or did you check the Yapyardigans Instagram?
I checked on my Instagram.
I wonder if there's any sort of, but at the same time, like you said, we're like promoting it from our
personal accounts.
So
yeah, I'll look again.
Like, I would just say, say check the Yapyardigans Instagram and see if there has been any likes or like any comments from. Yeah. Because that's just the one thing that itched my brain of like, oh, maybe they have, like maybe they follow us. So that you get the shout out @finalistgirl because we love you and we really appreciate you sending something to our forum.
Truly.
But could not find you. And if we should link up and you could be on, we could do like a Skype or a Zoom call and figure that shit out. So then our last thing is our manifestation. And mine is a pretty big one that I kind of had this light bulb literally today go off that like I've been thinking this and wanting to do it. I really want to take like an ASL class.
Oh, that's sick as fuck.
And I looked it up and I'm kind of confused of like how it would work or if like how community college classes work. But yeah, I just want to look into that. And if not that, then like, take like an online course or something. Because it's something that I've always been really interested in, but then just this light bulb adult brain of like, oh, I could just go do it. Like I could just like pay money and go to a class to like learn it. So that's my big manifestation that's kind of like a bigger one. I probably won't have much to report back by the next time we record, but like,
Who knows?
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I will. Maybe I'll be enrolled.
That would be really cool. My manifestation is I just passed my I just need to pass my classes because I
believe in you.
The time we record next week, or no, the next time we record, I should say, it will be the end of week 10, which is like the last week before finals. And I don't have any in-person finals because all my classes are online. So in theory, I would be done with school by then. In theory.
Like done with school other than taking your finals?
No, I would probably be done with my finals by then. If I really put my mind to it, I could get everything done by then. But that's a big if.
I see.
I think some of my finals are due. I would have to check my schedule and I have to check the due dates and stuff. But I don't actually know if I have anything due finals week, because my final paper for my class is due next week. And then I have like a couple exams, but I don't know when those are, so I should probably check. But all of that is to say, my manifestation just in general is just I just need to pass. I need to pass so I can graduate and get the out of here. You know?
So true.
That's what I have to say.
We're all believing in you, bestie.
Woo! Let's get that degree.
So, yeah. That's been our program. Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. And tell your friends.
And send questions to our Asks or Google Forms.
And follow us on social media at Yapyardigans.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Bye.
Bye, y'all. See you in a couple weeks. Bye. Goodbye.
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 Goodbye. Goodbye.